There you go.
We're on.
Mm-hmm.
It's So I'm just gonna say hello and welcome everyone to today's hangout. We have a couple of very special guests today. We have anonymous ataviticus, and we have Rob. Thank you for joining us today.
Howdy.
Hello.
So let's get straight into it. I broached the subject so you don't have to. I had an interview recently with Dr. Rick Strassman of DMT and the Spirit Molecule fame.
Yeah, I watched pretty much the whole thing.
You managed to somehow get through almost.
How long is it?
Yeah.
It's 4 hours.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, we did it in 2 parts.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a bit much. But the first half, the first 2 hours, is him talking about his life and times. And the second 2 hours is him talking more generally about DMT and religion. But one thing I came away from it thinking is that I don't know if we spoke enough about psychiatry as on the whole and the types of problems that can arise when you have that convention of kind of pigeonholing people and giving them labels that are supposed to describe their mental capacity or how mentally distressed they are.
No, I don't think you did.
No, it's like it's a difficult one. It's something that's he's quite passionate about. He's been in the business for a long time, and I feel like we could have gone perhaps a bit more into detail in that. And hopefully, he did say that he'd be up for doing further interviews with me, so I might be able to get into that with him in a bit more detail in
Yeah, that's cool.
what's to come.
I think like his explanations were like he gave good explanations of things, but I don't know. It wasn't quite what you'd want. I don't know.
He was very forthcoming, and he spoke in great detail about his life and times, which was exactly what I wanted. But it wasn't like when you listen to someone like Joe Rogan do a podcast,
Right.
he makes it quite exciting, like the way that and he's very conversational, and it certainly was a far cry from that. But I would love to get in a situation where I was in the same room as him or whoever I get the opportunity to interview.
Yeah.
For a much more better back and forth. But if I could ask you, Ataviticus, to just remind me of a couple of the talking points when it comes to psychiatry.
Right. Well, it's things like OCD. There's a whole bunch of like acronyms. There must be dozens of behaviours, and they say you don't just like behave some way some of the time. You have something, and it's an odd way of looking at it.
Yeah, because when I had it in mind to talk to him about abnormal behaviour, which isn't necessarily a medical condition, but which can kind of be used as literally a way to just extort people, to convince them that they have a medical issue, and then to extort money out of them for treatment.
Right, yeah, it's a bit of a racket. It seems like a racket.
And he pointed out,
I'm not involved in it, but it seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, like so he would.
Every year there's like more and more and more, and it's just like people being a bit quirky.
Like he gave an explanation of that, but then he didn't really give his personal opinions. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanted to hear him like tell some stories.
Yeah.
Right. Type of thing which he'd witnessed. I was hoping to kind of get.
So he was like, yeah, it's obvious. This happens. This doesn't happen. And here is what is covered and what's out there, and then it kind of end, and then he'd end it and then go into something technical. He didn't then go, I think it's really good, or I think it's a load of bullshit.
Mhm.
So,
He was very quick to sort of say it's across the board. It's not just psychiatry.
right.
It's like the big pharma and all kinds of industries have that same problem where it's not the practice itself or the institution or the organization. It's the propensity of a few bad eggs. Is what this was. I'm not quoting him word for word, but this is what he was implying, that it's
Right.
bad people within those industries and organizations rather than something wrong at bottom with the practice itself. Is that something you disagree with? Would you say that psychiatry is kind of a false?
Yeah, I mean, the things I'm talking about are from the top down. It's not just like a few bad apples. It's like the official designations by the most official bodies, and then that applies to the whole discipline. That's how I see it. Might be wrong.
Yeah, well, of course, there's a good chance. We can all be wrong about things from time to time. But one thing which he mentioned, which was quite compelling to me, was he was talking about, and he was talking about his first experiences at a psychiatric emergency room in a hospital he was a resident at, and he was saying that when he first joined, he was against medicating patients, and this was in the early days. They'd only just come out with lithium. There's only a few medications available, and up until that point, medications were generally toxic, dangerous. And on his first day there at the psychiatric emergency ward, he was introduced to some guy who was like screaming and spitting and threatening to kill everyone, and his boss was just saying, "What do you think now? Is this going to be like a spiritual experience? You're just going to sit down and work through, or are you going to medicate this guy?" And he was, and Dr. Strassman was saying that he kind of learned then and there that there was a time and a place to medicate when they're kind of very severely psychotic, are in real distress and chaos, a very florid state of psychotic episode. And I was imagining what you'd say, Ataviticus, and I was imagining you being, defending the guy and being like, well, the guy was tied down, and if, someone tied us down in a hospital, we might be screaming threats as well.
Yeah, I'd probably be different. Screaming and spitting. I mean, it's
a bit much.
Yeah, so at all, you can understand it. Like when you think someone's dangerous, that you have to medicate them then. But it's much broader than that. The things that we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like ordinary behaviours, but people being weird, like obsessive compulsive disorder. I've got to have everything in a row. Like it's not threatening to anyone. It's not like a man saying, "I'm going to kill you all." It's just someone like lining their stuff up neatly. It's just weird, isn't it? Or quirky.
Yeah, but like
it's not dangerous.
When he gave like an answer, it was almost like he was justifying it all by that one experience. See what I mean?
Right, yeah, which would be ridiculous because it just doesn't apply.
Yeah,
it doesn't apply, does it? It's an extreme, dangerous, potentially violent situation.
Yeah, he was like using what his like one experience for a justification of a bigger part of the practice, kind of.
Well, medicine and prescribed treatments of mental disorders have come on a long, long way since then. There's still a lot of problems, like selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors are known to cause, to lead to a lot of
suicide and homicidal thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
Tendencies. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of problems still out there, but that being said, we've come a long way since sort of the 50s and 60s when this kind of stuff was burgeoning, and it has only been a very short time when you think about it in the passage of humankind.
Yeah, but like your question was, do you think? What was your question to him?
I chewed the question up a little bit, but basically I said to him, you've been in psychiatry and had a lot of experience in the field.
Yeah.
I want to know if you've seen the sinister side of it firsthand, and if you have any experience of people using the institution of psychiatry as a kind of a camouflage to commit to commit fraud and crime, and just generally charlatans wearing the badge of psychiatry.
So then his answer is, well, this is my experience, and it was good in this one situation. It doesn't really answer it.
Yeah, we breezed over it pretty quick. Yeah, I would like to definitely kind of get him to talk on the subject a bit more.
But he kind of did that all the way through. Like, you say one question, and then he's like, well, this justifies this, and this justifies the other side. And it's like,
yeah,
he's right. He's right. He's totally right with it all, but it's like not what you want to hear.
Yeah. I mean, some things we really brought the microscope down and he really went into detail, and other things I feel like I did give him difficult questions, and I feel like when I did, he answered them authentically. Whether or not he answered them in excessive detail, yeah, perhaps not, but I definitely feel like he gave authentic answers, and kind of often answers that maybe wouldn't be what everyone wanted to hear, but still, his answer. So I don't know if hopefully I will get the chance to speak with him again, because it was very interesting.
You want to go to a different topic?
Yeah, you got anything in the pipeline?
Yeah, well, I just thought PS4 Pro.
PS4 Pro, yeah, switch it up quite drastically.
Yeah, it kind of leaves Viti Man out of it.
Yeah, we should make it quite a brief presentation, because I know he has no interest in console gaming.
Do you want us to talk about PS4 Pro, Viticus?
I don't care. It's fine.
All right. Go on. You say something. Like.
All right. Well, I kind of like. I think maybe it's a little bit early, to bring it out. How long has PS4 been out? What's I think 3 or 4 years.
Oh, the first console.
Yeah.
2 or 3.
Yeah, it's not been so long, and 4K's only been on the scene for a while, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there is a slim PS4 coming out as well, isn't there?
Yeah, but no. You're kind of right.
Is there? So there's not.
I can tell you if you want.
Yeah, go.
All right. So the conference was that PS4 Pro is like a beefed up PS4, and also there's a redesigned PS4. It's not called PS4 Slim. It's just replacing the existing PS4. Right? And it has what I think are good reasons for replacing the existing PS4, which people do overlook, and that's that the controller is 0 latency when plugged in.
Okay. And I didn't know that there was a latency issue with...
Yeah, they haven't got it 0.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's a massive thing. It runs quieter and cooler. And it's smaller. But that's the deal with that. But the PS4 Pro is it's got way more power and stuff like that. It's trying to compete with the Scorpio.
It's from a corporate kind of standpoint, I'm sure it would be a profitable move for them. Whether or not it's kind of necessary, I doubt it. To be honest, probably people could get by with the standard model a bit cheaper, at least for another year.
Well, that all kind of really relies on the HDR if the HDR technology is a good thing for them to invest in. But I think the main point on the two consoles being released is that before the whole announcement, people were like, this is going to alienate every PS4 user because they've only had it for so long, and now there's a new one that they've got to spend more money on to have the best product from Sony. And everyone was just like, this is going to be the biggest fuck up, and everyone's going to be really pissed off. How are they going to market it? How are they going to market it? This is like, they're going to have to think up something really good. And I think they did. What it is it's PS4 again, and if you are one of these really rich people, you can get because it's basically a double stacked PS4. So there's like basically two PS4s stuck together. And to me, I would be, because I like things being standard and leaving them as they are. So like I would get the PS4 new design and then wouldn't really care about the PS4 Pro. I think they did it.
But they cater to kind of the sort of the old guard, if you like, the people who either want retro stuff or who are still very much happy with what, you know, the kind of current state of affairs. They do cater to that market. So, you know, from a corporate standpoint, I'm sure it's going to be a profitable move for them.
I think they did their job. Yeah. That's the only thing that was going to be a problem, is the alienation of existing PS4 users. And I think they did it. Because the next step up is just like the premium version. I don't like premium versions of things, really. Like, all right, I'll give you like a really weird example. Like, if I bought a laptop, like I'd never put stickers on it. I don't know, if I bought like a handgun, I'd want to keep it as factory, like all the time.
Yeah.
And some people like that. Yeah, no mods, right? I don't like modifications, so that makes me want to get the regular PS4.
Yeah, but I think probably you might find yourself kind of in a minority there, because I think customization is a big thing to people in general. Like, it's important to people, even just to be able to like change the color of the back of their phone.
But it's more things to worry about. If you get a PS4 Pro, you've got, I know there's just more stuff in there, like, that kind of makes me confused. So
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Maybe it's just me.
Let me tell you a little bit of information here about Hideo Kojima. He took his staff to the Museum of Parasites in Japan. He took his, Kojima Productions staff, and he tweeted about it today. And he mentioned that he also took the staff of Phantom Pain there during production of that game. So it's a big clue that parasites and viruses and all that kind of thing are going to be a big part of Death Stranding. Just thought I'd drop that little tidbit in for those that don't know about that.
And you pick a topic, Adviticus.
Yeah.
I don't have a topic.
Oh, come on.
I knew. Alright, but I got one. Let's move it on to geopolitics and war. Everyone's favorite topic.
Right.
So, Obama just issued the waivers for child soldiers.
I do have a topic.
All right, go on. You go first. Go.
Yeah, should we go? Internet.
Yeah.
The internet. It got handed over yesterday, didn't it?
Oh, to
the domain controller of the domain names.
Yeah. That's a big deal.
What's going to happen?
Well, they could just make it, like Korea or whatever now, couldn't they? Where it's just like there's 5 sites you're allowed to go on.
Right.
And I don't know exactly why America wouldn't have done that or just do that if they saw fit to before.
Oh, because they have a much stronger legal system than
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
I know that's a fact. And on the eve of Rosh Hashanah, not to be anti-Semitic, but not to be anti-Semitic, but
I didn't know it was the eve of Rosh Hashanah.
yeah, because it's the end of Super Shemitah.
It's the end of the Shemitah, is it?
Yeah, yeah. Today, and
Right.
like you know that guy Shimon Peres just died. Well, I
Did
don't know if
he
he just died, but he had his funeral this weekend. Just so happened to be
really?
right at Super Shemitah weekend,
Yeah.
the end, and all the well, not all, but most of the big shots of like global governance are in Israel this weekend at the end of Super
For his
Shemitah.
funeral.
Yeah,
Right.
no, it just so happens. It's just
Right.
so weird to me. Like, of course, they're all in Israel on the eve of Rosh Hashanah. Like, it's just so predictable. And even when I saw it in the news, like, I just didn't still connect that it's just going to give them a reason to all be, there then.
Right. Oh, and why? How does this connect with the internet?
Well, because it's just for me, it's the whole Super Shemitah disruption trend.
It's the UN, right? Getting hold of the internet is part
Yeah.
of the Shemitah, right?
Yeah. It's
What and what does it mean now that the Shemitah is over?
well, the thing is, it's not necessarily over. Like Shemitah is over, but Shemitah events can have a little bit of lag afterwards. Like for instance,
Right.
Black Monday happened 2 or 3 weeks after the end of Shemitah. I think that was what was the year of Black Monday?
It's like 93 or so.
93. I'm talking about like way back when Black Monday.
Oh, it was in the 1929.
It was 29. You're right. Yeah. So that happened a couple of weeks after. I think that was a Super Shemitah. Was it 1929? Is that
Was
right?
it?
Well,
I
7.
don't know. I don't know. I told you about this, but now you surpassed me.
I know. Yeah, I've been looking at Shemitah. And also, China joined the SDR this weekend.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I knew that was on the card. So that's a big change.
And you can look at all of these incidents as kind of
They're
unrelated.
in the same vein.
Yeah, you can either think of them as isolated or unrelated or in the same vein.
Centralization, isn't it?
Yes.
And a merging, a convergence.
Yeah. And like, it's weird because it's the Shemitah thing. It just sort of sets the stage for more chaos in a lot of ways.
Right.
So even though, like, how do you characterize Super Shemitah? Okay, it's chaotic. Well, it's just going to get more chaotic.
Why is it the super one?
Because I think it's either the 10th batch of 7 years or the 7th batch of 7 years.
It's probably the 7th for 7. I think it is because there's something because 7 sevens is 49, and then it was 50th year that was the Jubilee year.
That's right. You're right. Yeah, so it wasn't the Super Shemitah.
So are we going into a Jubilee year?
No, well, because the thing is, technically, Shemitah was 2015. So the Super Shemitah is kind of an overlap.
That's the Jubilee year. So
this has been the Jubilee.
We've had the Jubilee.
Exactly.
Right.
And then you had Brexit with all that money wiped off of the markets.
Right.
And I think I told you this, but for anyone watching who doesn't know, the day of Brexit this year was exactly 7 years, 7 months, and 7 days after the last Shemitah financial crash of 2008, where the Dow Jones dropped 777 points.
Seven years, 7 months, 7 days.
Yeah.
777 points.
It's the largest single day drop of the Dow Jones ever.
Yes. Wow.
So that's fucking. I mean, how can that be a coincidence? Like, I realise that it can be. I know that it can be. I realise that. I don't say that it couldn't be a coincidence.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
There is so much weird numerology shit. Like
yeah.
fucking with Prince William or whatever his name is, and Kate, I can't remember her name,
Middleton.
Kate Middleton, they had their kid on the fucking not the equinox. What was it? The summer solstice.
But he was born on the summer solstice as well.
Yeah,
William.
and he was born
William.
on the summer. What the fuck? That's fucked up. And when they blatantly come on the television, like Christine Lagarde, she gave a speech about the
I
number
remember
7.
that, the magic number 7.
Yeah, she
And
did.
I'm going to test your numerology skills.
Yeah.
And she said about in 2014, 7 years from the crash, and 14 being 2 sevens or something like that. I can't. It was short, but it was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah.
At the podium, talking to some crowd of people at an official function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of it still. Like, even though it seems to be so blatant and right in your face, it's like, it can't be. Damn it. But yeah, I was going to say to you that Obama just issued the child soldier waivers, and like, everyone gets let off the hook.
For Africa.
Yeah.
Right.
Democratic Republic of Congo, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Sudan, Saudi Arabia, Iraq. I don't know if it was Saudi Arabia. I should get my facts straight before I just read this list off. But there was a long list. Yeah. All just, they're allowed to use child soldiers.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you kind of say that?
Well, hold on, because I don't really get. What is he wavering? What was there before?
So they have a convention against the use of child soldiers. So anyone who's caught using child soldiers is supposed to get sanctioned, or that they're not allowed to, some kind of trade sanction or whatever it is, some kind of punishment basically.
Right. Okay.
And so what they do is they issue waivers to say, all right, just for one more year, you don't have to have any, so that they can continue their business as usual. And it used to be Hillary Clinton's job to issue the waivers when she was Secretary of State, and I don't know why it's Obama doing it personally now.
Right.
But yeah, the waivers just got issued a week ago, and loads of people are allowed to use child soldiers. And I don't get how people can sort of see a warmonger who is condoning the use of child soldiers, and still go along with the idea that he's not some kind of lizard alien space beast from Omicron 7.
Heads be set.
But in all seriousness, I do find it odd that people go along with it. Like, it all seems so blatantly war economy to me that I don't see how people aren't just disgusted by it and kind of remove their consent by refusing to vote. There's no one who isn't just a representative of the war economy. There's no one.
It's because they're stupid.
I guess it's either because they're stupid or disinterested. I guess it must be, right? Because it can't be. No, but there's so many people who are paying attention.
No, there's not.
No, but they're like, you have a lot of academics, like newspapers and entire faculties in universities and colleges all over the countries that
are suppressed.
Oh yeah, but they make it their business to study these events and to comment on them.
If I walked down my street and knocked on all the doors and said, do you realize what economics is and geopolitics, and do you actually know the truth? I'd say all of them would have no clue. They'd be like Labour or Tory supporters, and they'd know who the cabinets are, and they'll hate Corbyn or something. I'm telling you, all of them. Like, if I said, what the fuck are they going to do about technological unemployment? Where everything's automated.
Yeah.
The whole. No, this is me talking to them.
Yeah.
I'd say the whole labour for money, free market model. They'd say, what the fuck are you talking about? All of them.
A lot of it's head in the
Right.
sand bits. But
No,
yeah,
they just don't know. They just don't
but
know. It's that
even
easy.
even on a like an underlying level, like you don't have to know all the details, or as you put it, the truth. You don't have to know that to know.
No, you have to know that to actually make a difference. And even people that do know all of the details are too damaged or unmotivated to do so.
I'll,
Who have you got? You've got Julian Assange,
yeah,
Snowden. You see what I mean? There's only like,
yeah,
it's not thousands upon thousands of hackers. It's not.
I know what you mean. It's a thing of ideals as well, because some people are like, it's broken, it's fucked, but that's because that's human nature, that it's kind of at base it's broken and fucked, but this is the best we can do, and people genuinely believe that kind of free market democracy
And everyone's
is.
let it. Everyone's like let it carry on.
Mm,
Like my parents, your parents, Ed Viticus's parents.
appeased it.
They got pregnant. They had children. Got a mortgage. Got a house and got a job. Right, and then they some knew and some didn't. But how much was £100 worth 40 years ago?
Turks, this kind of numbers.
It was worth £100. I don't know.
It doesn't really matter how much it was.
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
the point
It's a lot more.
it's staring everyone in the face. Like it's obvious, and
All right, let me chime in. I've got a little piece here, which came out on a website called The Drum, and I don't know if you know. Do either of you know The Drum?
No.
no idea.
All right. It's by a journalist called Rebecca Stewart, and the headline is: The U.S. military gave Bell Pottinger $540 million to run a covert Iraq war PR propaganda campaign. It looks like it's one of the most expensive PR contracts in history. When you think about it, $540 million in a single payment for a contract of propaganda, and not just propaganda, but purposefully covert propaganda. The idea is to just confuse everyone and to, get everyone on board, or keep them confused.
Yeah, you've got that too. But my point is, there's not enough. Like you say, there's so many people advocating good things. The percentage isn't there. How many people, like I don't know, Russell Brand, Peter Joseph, Martin Luther King Jr.
Mm.
There's not many. Most of them, JFK, they get shot in public.
Let me just read you another little piece in this article. The guy called Wells claims he was given precise instructions that films had to be shot in the style of Al Qaeda and 10 minutes long. The films were allegedly burned into CDs and contained codes which linked to a Google Analytics account, giving a list of IP addresses where the CDs had been played. The data was apparently shared with a restricted circulation list, while a tracking account had a very restricted circulation list. I'll put the link in the. Instead of just reading this article, I'll put the link into the chat and in the description after this. I mean, but what are we left with? Like, what can we do?
We need Snake and Otacon.
But failing that, like, we don't. We're so powerless. Like, people say, rock the vote. Like, fuck the vote. It's meaningless. There's nothing. Like, protest seems fruitless and pointless. I mean,
Yeah.
it can do something with protests, but it's not much. And
You
the only
could
way protest works is if you really genuinely feel like you can appeal to your oppressor's good nature.
push for a petition for UBI.
Yeah, well, I guess that is the answer. It's like
Yeah,
we genuinely are fucked, and like technicians and engineers can, problem solve in a real way. Like,
I did. I pushed to. I spoke with the Equality Trust and some of us and my local MP, and none of them did anything about it. I told him. I said, if you get 5 million votes on a petition, that law is introduced. Whatever the number was, I can't remember, but
they have to have a look at it in the room when they do that kind of stuff.
But then, you get UBI, you're kind of done. For like,
that's a step.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think about that, Viticus? Do you agree with UBI?
Would agree with it. Do I think it's a good idea? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think it will work at the moment.
Why?
Because it would be a pittance. It would be too little.
Well, just give a lot then. Let's say £2,000 a month for every individual.
That can't be done. So.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Maybe if you did something with a kind of a regional cryptocurrency, universal basic income, you could improve people's purchasing power regionally.
Well,
internationally.
If any country switched over to BTC exclusively, they would be so much better off, obviously.
Yeah, but depending on their access to internet and hardware, and with the United Nations taking control of the internet, and not being subject to even the scarce rule of law which exists in America, like it's.
Yeah, but you could do that though, right? A country could just switch, just like the Euro did. So let's take UK.
You could do it as an experiment, and I absolutely think that it should be experimented.
Yeah, you could do it for a day. Like, we have bank holidays. People seem to think if we change something, there'll be chaos or something. But we have, like, bank holidays, power outages.
That's like the result of the PSYOPs, is that you have this notion that anything other than the modus operandi du jour will just result in kind of misery and mental illness.
That'd be another. Sorry to butt in. That'd be another great thing. Stop joining police forces and military and the Navy and government organisations. You've got to do not get employment from the fucking police ever.
It's an Ouroboros though, isn't it? Because the people joining the army as infantry generally, and even like as beat cops, are kind of doing it out of desperation in a lot of instances, and a quiet desperation sometimes, and a more stated desperation in other times. But that brings us neatly onto the topic of proxy war in Syria.
God!
Is it going to become a full all-out superpower war?
That topic is so complex.
Well, what's your 2 cents, Ataviticus? Do you think we're going to have?
I don't know. I think Rob is right. I haven't been able to understand what's going on. So
he was round mine the other night, and we're watching YouTube on my TV, and it was like just everything's a contradiction.
Yeah.
Like, it's so complex now. Like, the US just blamed Russia for fucking up the ceasefire when the US have been arming what's the word? Moderate the moderates, and they've been giving them a quarter of their cachet every year or something like that. there's so much to it. Like, do you remember all the lines of lorries going from the Turkish border, just full of like UK cachets with
Yeah,
stamps on them, Turkish stamps on like terrorist boxes and shit like that.
it's amazing how what starts off as conspiracy theory, this is something which Stacey Herbert has mentioned a few times recently. What starts off as conspiracy theory and is ridiculed in the mainstream media, within a few months or a few years, is headline news as outright truth. And then the conspiracy theories, which they float as outright truth, while while they're ridiculing the conspiracy theories of kind of alternative news outlets, are completely just um, baseless and generally propaganda to just try and win loyalty with each other. So I'll give an example. So that very conspiracy theory of ISIS and Al Qaeda being regular infantry for the US Army, that's something which they openly admit now, and it's kind of like a hot topic in the news at the moment.
Yeah.
And it started off as being something that they all ridiculed months or years ago, but it was an alternative news theory that was coming up on sort of people's independent journalists' blogs or just opinion makers' blogs, not even professionals necessarily.
But do you remember 9/11?
9/11.
And now everyone's suing Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Like, if you said, "Oh, that story wasn't 100% fact," people would say, I was like talking with a girl once, and we talked about that, and I said it's a load of bullshit, and she didn't want to be my friend, and wanted me to like convince her that I wasn't crazy.
People get really emotional about
And
this
now
type of thing,
look,
and understandably as well.
look at the 28 pages that just came out.
Redacted, isn't it?
No, so Obama vetoed it, and then the Senate or something overruled it, so people are allowed to sue countries now. It set a precedent for lawsuits. So that's what that FBI, that former FBI agent said. That woman with the thick, like blonde hair. She's like a middle-aged lady, former FBI agent at that time, when they had, regular meetings with Saddam Hussein and all of that. And that's what she said. She said they made the planes go. You can watch it. I can't remember her name. I'll try and find it.
Do you want another little fact slip from Blakey while you try and find it? I'll just tell you that one of Hillary Clinton's main advisors has 2 cats, and they're named after Saddam Hussein's sons.
That's creepy. Right, it's Sin.
Who is it? Who has them?
If you want to get the skinny on that, you need to listen to the most recent.
Hillary Clinton's one of her advisors.
Yeah, what she has is she has an advisor. She has I'll tell you a little bit of background context to this. Like, she has people who pretend to be different styles of Donald Trump, and then she practices debating against them. And her main, like, angry Donald Trump, or like, or insulting Donald Trump, or whatever it is. And her main guy, who is one of her main advisors, one of her most trusted guys, who does this with her, whose name I don't remember, but you can hear it if you listen to the most recent episode of No Such Thing as a Fish, QIL's podcast, has 2 cats who he has named after Saddam. But apparently he's very good at pretending to be Trump.
Right. Fair enough.
Yeah. How about Trump? Is he? I remember you saying to me at Leviticus quite a while ago now that you kind of suspected that the whole conflict between America and Russia might very well be a facade and kind of that they put out.
That's what I think.
And because I've heard recently a lot of allegations that Donald Trump is kind of
In with Putin.
Yeah, best mates with Putin. What do you think about that? Do you think it's Trump?
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of Trump supporters are like that as well. So it's odd. There's a lot of people who are like that around Europe. Like all of the anti-EU parties, like National Front in France, the UKIP, the AFD. Yeah, I can't remember the other ones, but yeah, like they're all pretty much in with Putin. It's odd, but then so's Hillary, so's Obama. You remember Obama with the open mic?
No, tell me.
You don't remember that on the stage with Medvedev?
When he dropped the mic.
No, he didn't realise his mic was still on, and he said, "I'll have more flexibility after I get re-elected." Like whispering to Medvedev, but his mic was still on, so everyone heard
Who's
it.
Medvedev?
Oh yeah, I remember.
He was the prime minister. I get confused. I think Putin's the president and Medvedev is like prime minister, or was at that point.
Yeah, he's like number 2.
Something like that. Yeah, number 2. Yeah.
Of where, sorry?
Russia.
Oh, that's weird.
And, your man Farage is best mates with old Donald, the real Donald.
Did you see his speech?
No.
It was amazing.
Was it?
Yeah. One of the best speeches I've ever seen in my life. From a speech perspective.
Who,
Okay,
Farage?
Yeah, so Farage went to the
He's a good
US.
speaker.
Yeah, but this one was amazing. Like, it was just like, wow.
No, I haven't seen it. Was it a Trump rally?
Yeah. Why are you smiling like that?
Because I just think it's funny. Like you've got to love how we all have our opinions. None of us make any attempt to point to any real sources, like a little bit. But I think it's a double-pronged thing because if you want to be taken seriously, you need to, point to your sources and have some evidence and proof of the allegations that you make. But then at the same time, in the modern world, which is so rife with propaganda and confusion and, bots on social media pretending to be people to just argue and disagree with everything to make everything confusing, I don't think it is necessary, especially in the kind of speculative world of just speaking about your thoughts. I don't think it is necessary, and that's quite convenient because I'm pretty much unable to prove any of this stuff that we chat about. But it all seems so self-evident in many ways. Like when you look at the war economy and the history of humankind and so on, you don't have to have like a PhD in political science to understand that it's a war economy. Like Britain is the second biggest arms dealer on the face of planet Earth. That is a fact. Like I don't need to
so what's your
point to any numbers. You know that's true. Like,
why are you saying that though?
well, just because like I guess what I'm driving at is that who do you trust in the modern age? Do you trust some like bleary-eyed, anonymous kind of creeps on a Google Hangout just like shooting the breeze, or do you trust like the New York Times?
Well,
Or
most
do you
of
trust
it.
like C-SPAN or whatever?
Most of it, you can hear someone say something and then go look it up yourself, and then
That's what I'm saying,
most of
though.
the time it's pretty evident.
Yeah, it's the fact checking that I'm talking about though. Like certain facts.
What you mean, like, is space actually there?
That's something I wanted to talk to you about, actually. You know that Elon Musk is talking about going to Mars.
No.
Out of it,
Who's Elon Musk?
Right, so you mean
who's Elon Musk?
Yeah, who is that? Is
he's
that
the guy from
an Adam planet?
owns Tesla car. I think he did some internet thing to get
Oh, well, I love
money
him
in the first place.
because I think Teslas are super cool.
Right.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah, now he's in space. Space projects. Didn't they built like private rockets, but one of them
like the
crashed. Didn't they, the
Virgin.
first time it blew up?
No, that was
Pilot
Virgin.
died.
Oh, they built them for Virgin.
No, separate company. You've got Virgin Galactic, which is like the space sort of wing of Virgin, and you have SpaceX, which is Elon Musk's
Musk, isn't it? Yeah.
space division, if you like, of his corporate entity. But he also has Tesla.
So why did he say they're going to go to Mars and then find it's not there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of
why did you? Why was that said?
Let's just get like we can't get a show of hands because Atavitica's camera is off. So
I'll show you my hand.
Let's just get a vote. Is there?
Oh, do you want to see? Look where I lacerated my hand. Look.
What happened?
I ripped off a door handle.
Oh no! Was it broken door handle?
It and then it ripped up my whole finger.
Shit! Is it deep?
No, it's just really weird.
You got to get some iodine or something on that. You don't want that getting infected finger drop off.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, what was I going? Oh yeah, okay. So let's have a show of hands. Conspiracy alumni. Is there?
Here's my hands.
Is the moon real or is it not?
It's not real.
Is the moon real?
I'm going real.
Okay. Oh, controversial view.
You're a fucking chump.
All right. Have mankind ever set? Did the first time, like in the days of Kennedy, did we really go to the moon?
I don't know.
Don't know.
All right. Have we been since?
How can you say don't know? You said it's not real. How does this work?
That's two different things.
Right, yeah, no, yeah, but I'm confused. Tell me.
Well, the moon not being there is different from going to somewhere, isn't it?
Okay, so you don't just mean it's like fake. It's artificial. But they went there.
It's not what everyone kind of thinks it is exactly. But I don't know if anyone's been there.
Right.
But yeah, there's not.
Okay.
There's the moon really shouldn't be there.
Right.
Like the chances of it being there are more likely, of it not being there are more likely. Like it's an impossibility in mathematics.
There's a few of those though that we know.
Right,
that, like for instance, when you have an atom and it's struck by a photon of light, I believe it's the electron which orbits the center of the atom. So nucleus, is it?
Yeah, orbits the nucleus.
Yeah, when a photon of light energy strikes the atom, the electron does a quantum leap.
That's way too complex for me.
Well, think about it like this: a miracle happens when a photon strikes an atom.
That's a bad word to use right there.
No, but no one understands why. There's nothing that
because it gaps. You mean?
Yeah, it does a quantum leap, and the thing is, we know why it happens when the photon strikes it, but when it jumps back up, or when it jumps back down, when it does it, because it quantum leaps up.
Right. You mean because there's a cause when it goes up because it's absorbed a photon. But when it goes down, it releases a photon, but there's nothing that prompts it, or there's
nothing that prompts it. No one knows why it happens or how it could possibly be possible. Also, they just found a galaxy out in the middle of space, right in the middle, which is apparently 99% dark matter. Like there's not enough real matter there for it to be physically possible for it to be there, but it is. They find these kinds of kind of unexplainable, miraculous things often in the history of humankind, and it starts off being a lot of kind of superstition and conspiracy around it, and then something sheds some light on it, and we gain a better understanding of it, and we start to be able to explain it, and then we move on in general. But there are still unexplained mysteries now today, which are totally fascinating.
Hey Blake, can you try and put that video up that I've put in the playlist and see if we can talk over it?
Okay, I'll give it a try.
And then just turn it off.
Yeah. I've never tried this before, so experimental.
It's that lady from the. I was incorrect when I said FBI. It's CIA.
Okay. Everyone sees the same video. Only use. Okay. All right. So if I go.
And then you
play,
should press push to talk. There's like a green button. Oh. You have to go to the YouTube tab at the left. And after you've done that, press the green button.
Have you got your push to talk button pressed?
Yes.
Okay, unpress it because I think it's playing.
And then you just push to talk and then talk over it.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and then you can just add anything into the playlist.
Okay, yeah, and now that it's paused, everything's just back to normal. But while it's playing, it will just be playing, and our audio will go over it, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think if we watch this back at that point, this YouTube video would be playing in the for everyone to see. I think it won't just be like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Should we carry on watching that then, or do you want to?
No. I just wanted to test it out on that, because that was the thing I said.
Cool, experimentation.
Yeah, CIA Lindauer. I don't know what her name is. Yeah, her. She goes into the whole thing that ties in with the 28 pages, I guess.
I just watched. I just recently saw a video about a undercover police guy who's written books. I think his name's Robert Mazur, or something like that. And he was part of the undercover operation which busted up the Colombian sort of drug ring operating in Florida. But the CIA were after him because, weirdly, it's just weird how they all are so departmentalized. They kind of appear on the surface to all be working for the same team, like Team America. But when you scrape past the surface, they're all departmentalized and they're working against each other, literally to the point of extrajudicial assassination and murder. So the amount that judicial has anything to do with assassination. But the CIA were using the same bank that Palo Escobar was using to launder his money to fund their Iran-Contra operation. They moved their funds through that bank, and I believe that bank's still in operation today. I'm gonna have to get off now.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining me. That was really interesting, and I'm looking forward to the next time we all get together.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Right.
So I'll stop the broadcast now, and I'll see you guys next time.
Right. See you later, guys.